Welcome to the Gals Guide podcast. Join us on an adventure to get to know famous and infamous women from around the world. Each of our presenters has a pick. Is she ancient history? Is she breaking news? Is she safe for work? Well, that's up to each presenter. All we know is that...
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Welcome back. I am Riwo, and I am joined by Katie and Bonnie, and we are sharing our Freedom Gal pick. So Bonnie already talked about Deborah Sampson, and Katie already talked about the slut walk. Before we dive back in, I want to get to know something rebellious about our gal pals. So my question, which is on this piece of paper, is... What advice would you give to a younger girl about claiming her own freedom? I know.
Speaking from my own experience, would tell her to spend time with just herself.
Oh my God, yes.
Because I grew up very boy crazy.
Yeah.
And worried I wouldn't have a boyfriend or significant other, and very preoccupied with that fact.
Yeah.
So I didn't spend a lot of time figuring myself out and focusing on what I want and my needs. Yeah, kind of like in the intro for the first episode, what I was talking about. Yeah, you see where it kind of leads. So just spending time figuring yourself out, because then you'll know what your freedom means, because you'll know yourself.
Yeah, this is
so
true.
Take time to get to know yourself, know what your freedom means to you, and pursue that.
Yeah. No.
Pursue what makes you happy.
I like it. Bon, what about you?
I have two quotes.
Yes, I like
One
it.
of them is Ayn Rand.
Yeah.
And it's, the question isn't who's going to let me, it's who's going to stop me.
Yes! I like that.
And then the other one was, I keep wanting to say Margaret Atwood. That's a different lady.
It's a different Margaret.
Madeleine Albright.
Oh, Madeleine Albright. Yes. I wonder if I know the quote. Does it start with "There's a special place in hell"?
No.
No. That's my favorite Madeleine Albright quote.
Hang on.
I can buy you time. My favorite quote by Madeleine Albright is "There's a special place in hell for women who don't help other women."
Nice.
It's one of my frickin' favorites. And anytime I have that, well, it sounds like her problem, I go, no. Albright said, there's a special place in hell. So I will find a way in my resources that I can help.
So it took me quite a long time to develop a voice. And now that I have it, I'm not going to be silent.
Is that Melinda Gates?
No, that's Madeleine Albright.
That is Madeleine Albright.
Available now in my Etsy shop.
Oh, look at... Oh, yes, there we go. That's where I've seen it before.
I have one. It's got a print, and it's got like all of her... a bunch of her pins in the background.
Perfect. Beautiful. I can't believe I thought it was Melinda Gates there for a second. Perfect. I'm trying to think of... one of the things I always remember this, Gloria Steinem was in an interview, and she said... as a grown woman, to live your life as if there is a 5-year-old girl watching you. Because odds are there is always a 5-year-old girl watching you. That's the thing. You just don't always notice it. It may be in the grocery store. It may be, you know what I mean, here in the library. I mean, there's always that possibility. And it reminds you of the gravitas of how much of little role models all women are. And it also made me, because it was around the same time that Cammie, my oldest, was trying to figure out her career aspirations. And she's like elementary school career aspirations. And so she's like, I want to be a teacher or a waitress. And I realized that's where she sees women.
Oh, yeah.
And it was
that
like,
makes sense.
Oh, no, those are the spaces that women occupy confidently. And sure, that makes sense, but, there's so much more than teachers and waitresses. Like, dream just, like, yeah, those are fine. Dream a little bigger, though.
Yeah.
And so it was that we mimic what we see. And so that claiming your own freedom is to see it embodied in other women around you that aren't your mom. And to look for it any place you can. Like, try to be a sponge and look for, does that woman look like she's evoking freedom to you? And learn from whatever little aspect. So, that's what I would say. Glorious, glorious Steinem quote. Always. It's like haunting me and also inspiring me at the same time.
No, that's awesome. I, a few years ago, saw a video of like a kindergarten performance.
Oh, yeah?
That of me.
Oh, you
me.
Oh, my
Me in kindergarten.
Oh.
And all the kids were talking about what they wanted to be when they grew up. And most of the girls either said nurse or teacher.
Right, that's what they saw.
And it makes total sense. Those are, the professional women they've probably seen or been around.
Katie's answer.
Nurse. I was going to be a nurse.
There you go.
Oh, yes, of course.
See? I mean, you do people pleaser, but also taking care of people. So I can see it fitting in. But it is that same thing of like, well, this is what I see is available to me.
Yeah. And I can't remember what most of the boys said, but I do feel like there was a more variation of answers.
Right. Yes.
Firefighter.
Yeah.
Josh wanted to be a lawyer.
Really?
We found his school drawings where he was going to be a lawyer.
Okay.
I wonder if
That didn't work out.
some adult was just crabby with him.
Right.
And like Josh was like arguing with him. You should be a lawyer.
Well, he had
And he
older
just went
brothers
with
and
it.
sisters, so I mean, I feel like the argumentative, probably came from there.
No, I saw some clip the other day of some kid, I think, doing that thing where they're up at the mic saying what they want to be. And this little girl said she wanted to be pregnant.
Oh,
Not a mother, pregnant.
Sure.
Just cracking me up.
right, exactly. Well, you know what?
I will be pregnant.
We all learn eventually, because that shit sucks a lot of it. My goodness.
Adorable.
Do you want to hear who I have?
Yeah.
for you?
Definitely.
It does tie into little ones. It does tie into little kids. So I have for you a San Diego Public Librarian who stood up for Japanese American children during World War II internments.
Nice.
Yes.
So Clara Breed is her name.
Okay.
She sent books and letters and support to young readers who were imprisoned in the camps. She was protecting their right to read and reminding them continuously that they would not be forgotten. So she really pulled at my heartstrings.
Yeah.
So Clara Breed, she was born in 1906 in Fort Dodge, Iowa. So she's got that Midwesternness. Her father was a minister, so they did move around a lot. They're in New York for a little bit. They're in Illinois for a little bit. But when her dad died, her family moved to San Diego, and then she's there for the rest of her life is San Diego. After high school, Claire went to Pomona College. She got her unicorn degree, which is what we call the Master's in Library Science. She got it from Western Reserve University in Cleveland, Ohio. Okay. A lot of times, I think even some of the early librarians here in Noblesville also went to Ohio. For some reason, Ohio was the library school.
Okay.
It was interesting because I also make fun of Ohio. So I was like, really?
I mean, Bowling Green was like the teaching school.
Right.
So it's adjacent.
Ohio. Yeah, there you go. It's maybe their access to books. But so Clara started her library work in 1928, and she started as a children's librarian in the East San Diego branch. And many of her patrons were Japanese American children, often came to the library. After the bombing of Pearl Harbor, the United States became involved then in World War II. It was already going before, but we didn't get into it after Pearl Harbor. But after the bombings, Clara noticed that her normally very outgoing and enthusiastic kids and patrons that were in the library were sad and withdrawn and fearful. So then in February of 1942, President Franklin Roosevelt released Executive Order 9066. If there are any Star Wars fans out there, that Executive Order 66 is based on this. And the quote is what the 9066 order is authorized forceful removal of all persons deemed to be a threat to national security from the West Coast to relocation centers further inland, resulting in the incarceration of Japanese Americans. And it was 120,000 Japanese Americans that were held in camps in the United States. And it's one of those things that we don't talk about that much. No. We kind of like, oh, we would never do that, or we would never. And it's like, we did though. But we did. And we did it very quickly. So when patrons got noticed that they had to leave for camps, many came into the library to return their books. I don't know why this hits me in the field. No, I know exactly why it hits me in the field. But they returned their books and they wanted to say goodbye to Clara at the children's department, right? Yeah. So Clara gave each of them a self-addressed stamped stack of postcards and said to write to her and tell her everything that they needed. She didn't care if it was a book. She didn't care if it was a supply. She's like, you just tell me what you need and I will find a way to get it to you. So she sent books, but she also sent soap. She also sent toothbrushes. She wrote all of them back. And many of her patrons were specifically sent to Arizona to the Poston War Relocation Center. So a lot of them were sent to the same area, which also meant she would go visit them. So she visited them many times and brought them what she could and what they asked for. And a lot of times extra stuff that maybe they didn't ask for but could use as well.
That's incredible.
I know, right? Yeah. So she received over 300 letters and postcards during the internment. And the internment was from 42 to 45. So it was 3 years that it actually existed. Clara was also not silent about her opposition of Executive Order 9066. She wrote her congressman, like we're all told to do as good citizens. She also published articles about the unfair and inhumane treatment that was in the camps. Because she actually went and saw it, she reported on it. She was in the Library Journal and the Horn Book Magazine. I do remember Horn Book Magazine. It's a library magazine. But she's telling the other librarians, like, no, this isn't cool. We're not going to stand for this. She also requested that those in the camps who were of college age, so that 20s and 30s, that they be allowed to attend college in the Midwest. It's like, hey, they're college age. Why don't you send them to schools in the Midwest? Let them have an education. Clara fought also for fathers to be reunited with their children, because many Japanese fathers were often targeted by the government to be a security risk. There was one story of a woman that I read. Her I don't think it was great-grandfather. I think it was grandfather. Her grandfather was a samurai. And so they held his son because he was a security risk.
Oh.
Right. So anybody who seemed any amount of possibly dangerous or had friends, ran a business, knew people, could read or write. You know what I mean? Yeah. These security risks. So they took a lot of men. And so Clara very much focused on how can we get these men not only freed from unfair imprisonment, but how can we get them back to their families? How can we find the relocation center where their families are? So Clara was a lifeline to Japanese Americans. Her dedication to service and to decency and to advocacy on behalf of Japanese Americans who were wrongly imprisoned in concentration camps by the U.S. federal government during World War II. She not only used those written words, the writing letters and publishing articles, but she also was there to listen. Yeah. And she was also there to connect and to actively care for the kids who were in the camps. She cared and she helped and she really treasured their voices too. And treasuring their voices when they're trying to be silenced, they're trying to be taken away from their homes and put in a place where nobody will see them. And they're trying to be silenced. Yeah, exactly. So many librarians' superpowers go far beyond books. And Clara Breed is just one example of those rebel librarians that make it more about books than more about the things that matter. So after the war, Clara was appointed San Diego's city librarian. So, the top dog, the big librarian, right? Yes. During her 25 years as the city librarian, more branches were added, and they also did a central branch. Central branch in the 70s and 80s became a thing where it's normally there's lots of them, but it's which one is the main hub? So she was helping to establish the San Diego Central branch along with all of the other little ones. She also established the Sierra Cooperative Library System, which made interlibrary loans easier. I thought you would love that because I know you love your interlibrary loans. And San Diego at the time, it was only in the certain counties This expanded it, so it could be either the whole state or it could even be, I'm not sure if it could be out of state, but I mean, California is a big state. So if you get it at least out of, in California, you can get more interlibrary loans and stuff. She also won quite a few of awards. In 1955, the Women's Council named her San Diego Woman of the Year.
Nice.
Right?
Yes.
And then in remembrance, and they did a reunion of the Poston camp, Clara came and she was honored. Didn't say what she was honored with, but they did honor her. She gave all of the letters. She kept all the letters that the kids wrote her. She gave them to a pen pal. And her pen pal was Elizabeth Yamada. And she was a high school English teacher. And she was of Japanese origin. So she gave her all of the letters. And then Elizabeth, in turn, then donated those letters to the Japanese American National Museum.
Nice.
So they are in a glorious museum, every single one of them. They were on a display exhibit called Dear Miss Breed, Letters from Camp. Aww. So they had a cute little exhibit. And then the Smithsonian made them part of their permanent collection.
That's incredible.
And incorporated them into lesson plans. So you can actually read those letters and learn about the kids in the camps and what their life was like using this
legacy.
As, right, kind of embodied lesson sort of thing. The letters are also the basis for a book. It's a young adult book, and it's called Dear Miss Breed, and it was written by Joanne Oppenheim, and it was published in 2006. It's like a less than 300-page book, so it's kind of a young adult book about her. But I thought, I'm like, oh, that's sweet. In 1993, Clara received a commendation from President Bill Clinton. I don't know what a commendation means. It's not a Presidential Medal of Freedom, but it's a commendation. I tried to do more Googling, and I couldn't get any more than just that sentence. In 2007, she was inducted into the San Diego Women's Hall of Fame. Nice. And in 2014, she was inducted into the California Library Hall of Fame. There's a Library Hall of Fame.
Yeah, there is.
I got very excited. So I was like, ooh, that sounds like fun. She also wrote about the 100 years of her library, of the San Diego Library. So it was entitled Turning Pages, San Diego Public Library History from 1882 to 1982. So so she was part of that history. That's the only book that she wrote. And I don't know if I would so much call it a book in the sense of it's, it's information about the library.
Documentation, yeah.
Exactly. Yep, true. But Clara worked for the San Diego Public Library System for over 40 years, and she died in 1994 at the age of 88. So she had a big old library.
It's an incredible life, yeah.
Right, exactly.
Wow.
So, yeah, she hit me in all the feels when I'm having a lot of feels. But I'm like, I just love her. She's so cute and so sweet and does the library work, so... Exactly.
Perfect. She was the story you needed.
I know, exactly. She was that tear-jerking, light-hearted rebel that just did the good things when she could do the good things and kept it about who she was helping, sort of thing. So,
and just kept trying, kept going.
Exactly, right?
Yes.
It's very sweet.
As soon as you brought up the internment camps, I was like, did she send books to George Takei?
Oh, possibly. Like but what camp was he at?
He was in the Riwo War Relocation Center in Arkansas.
Okay, gotcha.
So not
Her
Arizona.
patrons were Arizona. Yep. Okay, gotcha.
Which I thought was funny because they were living in Sacramento, California.
Right.
I was like, oh.
Yeah.
California. Nope, different camp.
California's so damn big. But they both start with an S, so it's like, wait a minute. Could it? No, it's the other one. I used to tell people I lived halfway between San Francisco and Sacramento. And it was true, but it would just, for some reason, the S's made people's mind go, where? Like, those two places, I can't. And I'm like, well, there's a mountain in between. And you have to go in this really long little valley, and the traffic sucks. But that's where I lived. Sweet. Do you want me to wrap it up? Oh, my goodness.
Go for it. Last wrap up in the library.
We're going to do this again. It's just not in the same parameters, so it's weird. But that wraps up Freedom Month. There are 3 episodes this glorious month. So join us next month as we share the stories of courageous women in a rebel era. So courage is our theme next month. We'll be recording online. So we might have guests representing 3 states. I mean, we might have Indiana, Minnesota, and maybe another state. We also might even have 2 countries, the United States and maybe another gal from another country is on the show as our guest. So tune in and see what it just might be. But for the last time from the Gals Guide Library in Noblesville, Indiana, thanks for listening. Want to learn about more women of history? Gals Guide opened a unique women's history lending library. Come visit and explore our collection. Learn more at galsguide.org. Thanks for listening.